I enjoyed doing that. I enjoyed exploring that dramatic narrative. Tennessee Williams was incredible.
I'll tell you one of the things, I had the longest talk with your sister also
Yeah.
about Cat Martin.
Oh, yeah. Cat.
Yes, I thought you did an amazing job, a masterful job.
Thank you.
Director.
Thank you. I loved what I did. I did. I had a good time.
The opening scene with Maggie, where you choreographed it literally. I mean, it was directed, but she never stopped talking. She was getting dressed at the same time. And you amalgamated the way you just made the movement and the words and everything just flow as she got dressed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was choreography. I enjoyed doing that. I enjoyed exploring that dramatic narrative. Tennessee Williams was incredible. I met him once, and he had such a great sense of humor. But he had a very dark life, and it always worked its way into whatever his writings were. That was a great piece.
Yeah, and just to see how your sister, James Earl Jones, the interaction between the two, because they were the consummate artists in the piece.
Yeah. Well, we did it again in London, and we were much more welcomed in a way there. It was interesting. There was a journalist, a New York journalist, that was going to write a story in the New York Times about how I had bastardized Tennessee Williams. You know, the language of Tennessee Williams was like, F the preacher, F the goddamn preacher. That was Tennessee Williams. He wrote Cat maybe 4 times. And each time, he made the language more like what he really wanted it to be. He didn't have to say "rut the preacher," which is a term about fishing and carving out a fish that nobody, unless you fish, you don't know what that means. He wrote "F the preacher." So this journalist was going to write this story, and he called the estate to say, how did you allow Debbie Allen to change the language of Tennessee Williams? And they said, I'm sorry, what are you talking about? He said, well, the rehearsal, I say, he's saying this, he's saying that. They said, oh no, those are Tennessee's words. So it was like, Tennessee Williams is somewhat of a holy grail, I guess, for them, but it translates beautifully in a black family, a Japanese family. You could do that story in any family, because the world of the family and the deceptions and the lies and the competitions and the greed and the love and the pain and death are universal. And so that was very interesting that he was going to write this article. And then he found out, then he wanted to talk to me, but I didn't want to talk to him.
The other thing I read, in Fame, that dance teacher.
Yes, Lydia Grant.
Yeah, she's everybody's dance teacher. I want to know, did you model her after a particular person or a combination of people?
Well, the cane came from my Russian teacher at the Houston Ballet, Madame Simonova. Used to teach with a cane. And it was the cane that would whack you when you did something incorrectly. But a lot of it was the spirit of my own self, because by that time I had worked at what is now the Duke Ellington High School of Performing Arts. Started out the GW Workshop for Careers in the Arts. And I was teaching dance as a junior and senior in college at Howard University to about 30 or 40 young students that would follow me everywhere. We'd have class in the basement of a church, in the hallway of an administration building, wherever we could find a space. And so there was a part of that was certainly my experience as a student, but also teaching these young people. I had kind of done that a little bit.
You came across this, you were the only character, the only person, not the only character, but the only person to do the television show, the movie, and then the revival.
I know, and then when we did the revival, I was so disappointed because the director was saying, well, we're not calling her Lydia Grant. I said, why not? That's Lydia Grant. I said, put a ring on her finger. Okay, then her name changed, but that's Lydia Grant, honey. Anyway, yeah, I was the only one that made the leap. Yeah.
She reminded me of a teacher that you would have had at the high school performing arts. At that
Yeah.
time. She was clearly a PA teacher.
It was interesting because Gene Anthony Ray was that student.
Yeah.
He did get kicked out for slapping a teacher. Yeah.
Off of the course. But that's fabulous. That's New York.
That's New York.
That's New York.
Yeah.
Now, you did 10 Academy Awards.
Yes. I choreographed the Oscars 10 times.
6 in succession.
No, two were not in succession. Because Gil Cates stepped down as producer and then Quincy took over. And Quincy took too long to ask me to do it. By the time he asked me, I was committed to a play. But 10 times is probably the record.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know, I've never looked it up. But it was, it's like, you dream about these things as a kid. I always watched the Oscars as a kid and then never saw anybody that looked like me on the Oscars. So when I got there, I was like, yeah. And I had a good time. I had a great run.
But I was going to ask you about that because I'm sure some of it is the actual art, but some of it's negotiating the art and getting what you want, and I'm sure it's not.
Honestly, the Oscars, you could look at it as almost a thankless job because you work so hard and so quickly. The nominations come out on a Monday and you have 3 weeks and you're on and the awards are on the air. And you must have something that is creative. And I think, honestly, they kept asking me because I was creative. I could always think of something. I'll never forget when Maria de My Soul, this was a song from Mambo Kings, was nominated. And Gil Cates was like, what the hell is this? What the hell? I said, look, we'll get Sail Your Cruise. He said, who? I said, okay, Placido Domingo. Yeah, okay, Placido. We'll get Placido. Then we will get Tito Puente and we'll turn this into the hottest salsa thing. Yeah, let's do it. So by the time I finished, we had to get Placido. They didn't even know who Sail Your Cruise was, child, whatever. But I was so happy to get to meet Placido. But he sang the song and then we turned it into a big salsa club. It was fabulous. I was creative and that's why they kept asking me. I think they liked me, but that was not the reason. It was because I was creative.
Now, in 2001, you were in school.
Yeah.
And that's a wonderful thing that you passed on what you did in a real formal way. You really became an entrepreneur, that you were a businesswoman.
Well, I'm in the business of providing opportunity for young people. Because like myself, at that age, my parents couldn't have afforded that school. And to train people properly, you must have accredited, fabulous teachers. And my teachers are from the Kirov, from the Bolshoi, Malvin Ailey, just great teachers. And so it's an enterprise in passing the baton, in nurturing those young minds that just need some opportunity, in remembering who I am. Every day I see them, I remember who I am.
And I was looking at your directorial credits.
Oh yeah.
And, well, they were immense. And they're so varied. I mean, you did things that were pure dance, that were fun. And then with shows like Different World, for instance, you were able to interject social issue.
Yes.
Bring it, and I knew a lot of times you probably had to go up against the network to get some of that out there, because some of it was, you were right there on the times and you were talking about things that were extremely important to young people. You're still now.
Well, I was always, what I say, called into the principal's office. We were the first network television show to address AIDS. And you would have thought we put Jesus back on the cross. We were trying to save lives. But I mean, they were kicking my butt. I got Whoopi Goldberg to play the teacher. I knew she was going to win the Oscar that year. They didn't care. I found Jada Pinkett. That's when I discovered her. But I didn't hire her because I knew if she had HIV, then she might not live long. There was no cure at that time. People were just dying. And I mean, that's just one of many shows that I got called into the principal's office for doing what was right. And that is kind of a bane of my existence. I'm not afraid to say those things that are unpopular or uncomfortable. And it puts me at odds sometimes with people with big guns, but whatever. I think the biggest gun up there somewhere is okay with it, so I'm good.
I mean, you've kind of made yourself bulletproof. Because I'll tell you what, you did these things, and even if they went against it, once it hit the air, you got such a positive response.
Such a positive response. But, nobody sent me flowers. It was okay, we did it for the right reason. I wasn't looking for flowers or a paycheck. You have to know why you're doing something. Sometimes you gotta really just do it for the right reason, even if you put yourself at risk. And that's, being, I feel, an explorer in the world of creativity, which is who we are to be.
As you've moved on to Grey's Anatomy, which is also done Scandal. You've also
Scandal, Empire. The finale of Empire last season was pretty big.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Wow. And those are pure drama.
Yes.
They have a build. I mean,
Yes.
What you learn in choreography that travels over into direction. Because
Yes.
to me, that a dancer who becomes a choreographer, if they do it early enough, the next natural progression is to become a director.
Well, only if you start to understand the dramatic narrative. You can't just say movement. You have to understand character and the dramatic narrative. What is it about? And help the writers find things sometimes they might miss, help actors navigate their way and find what their real challenges in their scene. What is their action, their need, their obstacle, those things. I studied the classics when I was at Harvard University, classical drama and literature, and that helped me understand it. So dramatic narrative and choreography, all of that is definitely, all that influences me as a director. So.
It's clear that in the way you direct, you know how to get the artist to give you what you want. And you know how to, like you were saying, dramatic narrative. Now, how is that different with the director, with actors, as it is with dancers?
Actually, it's no different. It's no different. With dance, sometimes this step, that step is difficult for a dancer, and you have to plow through it, or you have to adjust it. You're adjusting, blocking, and, I might think that the actress comes in that door, flops the suitcase down, comes up here, starts complaining, whatever the scene is. They may say, no, I don't ever want to go past that door. Then I have to get them to where they can get up here. So dance is drama. I mean, we don't have words. We're using, movement and expression or not expression to, convey something, whatever we're doing. I think dancers make great actors. I think it's no surprise that Shirley MacLaine is who she is, or Catherine Zeta-Jones, or John Travolta. Chris, what's his name? He's in Walken, Christopher Walken. He was in my ballet class. He's amazing. There's
And you.
Okay, me, all right. I'm okay. But there's a connection there.